All right, so there's me 6 months ago. Never seems to focus very good. 50 pounds less, 6 months later. Now it's not all by chance, and I really didn't do most of it through exercise. Most of it is achieved through what I deal with, which is gut health. So bacteria and fungus live inside the gut, and hormones are secreted by those. Your endocrine system is your hormone system. If you want to get the fast track to all of this type of information, you can go to got-tokens.com. That's GOT-TOKENS.com. But look, so life is a book. Now what I mean by this is I mean 4 crucial elements. There's chapters to the book. There's perception of the reader, which changes, depends on how many times you read it. And if you reread it, the perception has changed because you have changed. Nothing in the book has changed, but something in you has changed. The third thing being that most of us never publish our book. Most of us do not put our book out on publish or out on shelf. And the fourth thing is that most people, they don't think their book matters. Their book matters a little bit to them, but if you ask them about it, they're going to say, mine doesn't matter. So let's first go over the first part, which is the chapters, right? So the image that I showed you at the beginning of this video is essentially the most recent chapter that I've had. Some chapters are good, some chapters are bad, but they are all, in the end, they're just chapters in different sections where different events and different things were going on. The best part about closing a chapter and opening a new chapter is the knowledge from all the previous chapters while you begin this new one. And at the beginning of the chapter, there's always amazing hope. Everything's set away. There's a plan, there's a vision, there is a business model, there's some sort of an execution. And as we get better with the start of each new chapter, we have more focus going into the new one. Okay, and not all chapters are great. Like some of them are closed badly, and some of them are closed on amazingness. And that's kind of part of it. 20, 30 chapters to a book. I feel like that's reasonable to say. Life has seasons. It has ups and downs, peaks and troughs. The second thing that I touched on, perception. So there was a really famous man who once said that when you read a good book and then you reread a good book over again a second time, you see something different in it that you didn't see before. And it's not that it wasn't there before, but the mind takes tangents. As you read, the mind gets caught on a thought and goes off even though you're still reading along. And so your consciousness actually can miss things. But the second time you reread it over, it's not that it wasn't there before. It's that there's something in you that wasn't there before. So it's actually you that has changed while you're rereading it a second time and a third time. And this is rereading your own book, right? So when you reflect back on a previous event in life, when you reflect backwards on something, you might all of a sudden have an epiphany that things weren't the way that you thought that they were. I.e., a good example of this is you're no longer in an emotional state of anger or jealousy when you're reflecting and you go, wow, okay, looking at it now without all those hormones going through my body, triggering or putting me into a feeling and assuming that this thing is how it is, even though once you look at it later on from a logical basis and the hormone isn't present in your body, you see that, oh, maybe it was actually like this and not how it felt at the time like that. And so that's how perception can change over time. Now, the third being that most people don't publish. Most people don't try very hard. Most people truly do not try very hard, and most people don't ever publish. They don't want to put the effort in, first of all. So when that happens, they say, what I have in my book and in my story is actually of no value to anybody. Like there's nothing to be gained. Like for me, I have no idea what you gain from this video, if you gain anything. Maybe you gain, I personally, as far as brand and things would go, would hope that you would begin to Google things like gut microbiome, macronutrients, things that help you from a holistic standpoint. If you have an autoimmune condition, you would look into drinking bone broth to heal your gut lining so you quit leaking feces into your bloodstream in your intestines from the permeability. So, but here I'm talking about a book. So the third thing is that most people don't publish. The fourth thing being that most people don't care about their book. And that's simply due to a fact that they have put limited effort into their book. They have been closing chapter after chapter, and it's hard to maximize a 24-hour period every day after day after day after day. The only true way to really maximize each 24-hour period is to do the hardest things you can do, which in my opinion, it's going to be fasting. It's going to be every single day some sort of a physical challenge. And then once that one's got easier, finding another hard physical one. That's going to continue for you to carry out every 24 hours and push harder to get more out of each 24-hour cycle. It's going to be fasting, physical exertion, and then clean and sober mind is going to be a big advantage. All right, so that's what I mean when I say that life is like a book. If you want to check out at got-tokens.com, you can get a free $20 product for a fast-paced track to gut health and gut microbiome and losing weight in general, but more from a holistic and health point of view, where fasting makes sense to break the tongue, to create the caloric deficit, and literally lose weight the fastest way, which is to instantly stop eating, but to also heal the gut with bone broth, right? So we're keeping everything intact while we're fasting. We're essentially just cutting nutrients, but we're keeping the basis ones that we need for the nervous system to function, like our sodium, potassium, magnesium, B vitamins from nutritional yeast flakes, and bone broth. And with that, you can basically begin cutting intensely. Now, you do have to stop a fast, but when we're healing the gut and we're healing the body, giving the body the tools to heal itself from maybe malignant cells, this is some of the best ways to go about it, is so that it can ramp up its hormones, it can ramp up the systems that have been dormant because there's been too much of this. And so we cut that out. All right, hope that helps. Peace.